America rarely thinks of itself as a colonized place. And it definitely never thinks of itself as a colonizer. So there's kind of a weird dual mentality there. In the States, there's this notion of being white, and who is white? And it's a thing that doesn't get talked about very often. And then so for me, I'm like, oh, all you guys are white. But if I talk to some, say, a Jewish American, they'll be like, oh, I'm not white. Because it's uncomfortable, at least in the States, to admit that you've been colonized. And so I have a book, the word colonization doesn't ever come up, because I don't think in those terms. When I've been to India and to Ireland, these people that, embraced is the wrong word, but the people where the notion of being colonized is just part of their everyday vernacular. Because they're familiar with a certain type of oppression, that's systematic, ongoing, historical. And it's not so much necessarily based on color. They have their own little demographic things. But, even in Ireland, we have this conversation and we start on this other level that I don't start in the States. So I was having this discussion with a journalist, and he's basically trying to say, as an Irish person, I feel black. Which is interesting for me to hear. I'm not going to tell him how he feels. I don't really care, to be honest with you. And he uses a line from the Commitments where he talks about, we the Irish are the niggers of the United Kingdom. And then so for me, it's interesting of who's a nigger when, for how long, And so, I don't know, in some sense my book is about that. I don't know, there's this new Jay-Z song. Has anybody heard this song? Rich nigger, poor nigger, field nigger, house nigger. Since I've been talking a lot, I get these things, black people are treated like shit everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, we know this already. We know this. But for me, it's the danger of that however the perception is that we all experience blackness in the same way. And that for me is scary. So in the States, we have these books and these TV shows by black Americans, dear white people. I was in London, there's a book, What to Say to My White Friends, I don't know, all these things. And my thing is, I don't care about talking to white people. I have my story to tell, and I try to make the assumption that my story, if it's told well enough, has something in it for everybody. But I don't have the time. This is something like I struggled with when I was younger. And I realized I don't have the time to teach white people anything. I just have the time to tell my story. And it's completely freed me up. And I think so much, I'm just going to talk about African American literature, is pandering to what white people want to hear. And I'm trying, for me, I'm just trying to write without any restrictions as much as I can. And I don't know how I figured it out or if I figured it out, but when I got older, I had other black writers, black American writers come up to me, and they would thank me, and I'd be like, well, what are you thanking me for? Because they thought I just wrote without having to be black. Even though I am black, I have no problems with it. You have these difficult discussions and somebody will say, oh, well, we're all human beings. And I was like, if you have the need to say that to yourself, you've got a problem.